G'day guys. This video is actually the video that I was doing in the live, and I ended up pulling the pin on it and stopping. So this is just it finished off. So if you want to see how I did the titles, you'll have to watch the end of the live that I had on Friday. So yeah, so I decided to, during the live, I was trying to use this, it's the TCW Tacky When Wet Gel Medium, and I tried using it on some chipboard, and I'm sure it's user error because this stuff works perfectly on everything else, because I wanted to do some foiling on this layout. So I've put it in the top, like in the diagonals, top and bottom corner. And then I decided that I was going to do a little bit of ink blending to do in the other two corners. Now this is just a bit of a trial to see what I liked. This particular stencil is just a cheap one that I got from, I think it was Amazon. I got like 10 stencils, and they were just generic ones, you know, stars, circles, that sort of thing. But any star stencil will work in this situation. And I'm using the blues that I used on the title, which is Salty Ocean and Prize Ribbon. And I'm just adding some, I'm not filling up the whole square, I'm kind of leaving the edge, but it bugs me when you've got half a star or half a heart. So it does my head in. So I'm trying to make sure that I got them all in there. Now, I'll show you how I do clean up that edge a little bit more. I think the top one looks fine, but I did put a bit of mint tape over the A001 or whatever it is in the corner, because it did come through a little bit on that stencil because I was just being really rough with it. And I just wanted these to be sort of variegated stars so that it blended in with the titles that I did. Now, this is some photos of Jen when we were actually at one of the AFL games that Angela was playing. And I'm not kidding, Jen can do gymnastics anywhere, anytime. I kid you not. And what I saw her doing was she was doing some different skills down on the footpath. And I happened to see her, see how I'm just wetting it? Because this is Vicky Bouton Foundation's cardstock. Because I moved really quickly and wet the Distress Oxide before it was dry, I was able to lift it off. Even if it does dry, it's water activated, so if you just add a little bit of water to it, boom bada bing, you can lift it back off if you go too far. Now, as I was saying, Jen was doing some stuff with the, I saw her shadow and I thought that would look really cool as a photo, so I thought that would work perfectly. Now see, it works perfectly. The tacky paste works beautifully. If you use a full sheet, it just goes on like butter. But I'm a Scrooge, so I was trying to use the little pieces. And the part where the foil had already lifted off, that's what I was having trouble with. So it wasn't the paste, it was that part of it. So I did, and then I had ruined it a little bit, and but it looks okay. It looks fine. It's shiny, it stars. The top corner looks the best. Because the photos are going to go across a little bit on the bottom, I wasn't too worried. I was okay with that. So we live and we learn. I will get better at this foiling thing. I don't do a lot of foiling. They're pretty much my only foils that I have. So it's just one of those moments where we live and we learn. So, and this particular day when I was doing, I ended up doing this Saturday afternoon. I just finished these layouts off. And this particular one, I was just in a really playful mood, and just use it and see what happens. That's pretty much what I was doing. So yeah, now I'm just drying off the ink because, as you know, I have issues. If I don't have the right colored cardstock to match my inks, I will use the inks to create the background or the border. Or sorry guys, I've just power walked home. I've dropped my husband's car off to get new tires put on it, and I thought, no, I'll take Lexi with me and we'll come for a walk back. You know, it's a nice day, it's not too bad. Well, you know, I am not very fit, and you know, with all my issues that I have, I struggle a little bit. So just, yeah, I'm recovering whilst I do a voiceover. How about that? So this is my photos. Now, as you can see, I just used the scraps that I was practicing on and it totally works. Now, I do find that my little gymnasts, because I made them white this time instead of doing black leotards on them, they were just blending into the background way too much. Now, the other thing I was not a fan of was the ink on top of the gymnast. I wasn't getting a good even blend. So I had done a little bit more research. So if you watch the live, you will hear me bagging this product. Well, no, correction. I wasn't bagging the product. I just felt that Vaseline did the same job. Incorrect. I stand corrected. Tim Holtz has corrected me. I've gone to his YouTube channel and I watched his entire informative video on what microglaze is and what it does. So I decided what I was actually going to do was go over the top. So I did this yesterday, right? So this is the next day. So I knew my inks were perfectly dry. I went over it with the microglaze. Now, microglaze, I didn't realize this, but it actually absorbs in and dries into the cardstock. So it's a sealer. So it seals the product. Therefore, you can go over the top of it again and not mix your colors. You can layer up on top of it. So now I've learnt that property. I used my heat tool here and I actually found that it did exactly what, surprise, surprise, it did exactly what Tim Holtz said it would do. This is what happens when you just play and learn with play. You need to sometimes reach out to the powers that be and really learn what the product's for. Would I probably use it a lot? I don't know. Watch this space and we'll find out, I suppose. But I did find that the colours layered up instead of soaking into the previous layer, and they did stay a little bit brighter. So for that purpose, in future, I would use the microglaze. And I would actually use, if you're not going to use a sealant of any description, be it gesso, clear gesso, whatever. Yeah. So the microglaze will do the same job. So it will seal it. It will lock in whatever colors that you put underneath it. And then you can go over the top with either different colors or like I have here to make it a little bit brighter. I know look, in real life, you can see that it is definitely brighter. I did struggle with, did you see how much ink I just wasted? Wasn't that insane? But anyway, I didn't want to dilute the ink as I was putting it onto the word gymnastics. Now, this is where I realized that my gymnasts were not standing out enough. So I decided to go around them with a black Posca paint pen. I'm using my big one. Now, this is sped up. Do not think I was doing this at this speed. I was being very, very careful to make sure that I only got the outline of the gymnasts, and I'm pleased to announce that I managed to do all three without stuffing up, which is really shock horror for me. So yeah, they just needed something to separate them more from the background. Now, what else did I use? So the transfer foil that I used was from Poppy Crafts. I've just got a couple of cheap lots to sort of see if I really like it. Now I've got the Tacky When Wet Gel Medium. I think I'll use more foil. So I think I will slowly build up a little bit of a supply with it. I did get some new products come in today. They're new to me. So I actually went on a bit of a spending spree on the weekend, believe it or not. And I've bought a few things. So I will have a few orders coming in this week, which is pretty exciting. I love getting new product. I'm trying to, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to try and say for the majority of September, I'm going to try not to order cardstock or scrapbook papers. I'm going to try and use what I've got, but by adding new mixed media products to it, or stenciling or embossing or whatever to try, and that's what I'm going to do for September. So I'm going to continue doing, obviously my layouts are my layouts, that's how I do them, but I'm going to do that process, but I'm going to use what I have. So if you see a new product, it's probably because I've bought it before I said this. So today is the 28th of August 2023. So I have placed a couple of orders, and I won't be ordering any paper products for the foreseeable future until October. I will probably go to town because I'll want them all, but I've just got to wait and see what comes out in the next sort of week, next sort of month, and go from there. Now, I am creating a different kind of border. As you can see, I'm just using my mini daubers. I'm using the same 3 colors. I'm using Salty Ocean, Prize Ribbon, and Walnut Stain. And I love blue and brown. I love it. It's so pretty. And I'm going over it with some clear embossing powder. Now, I don't do that very often. This is hit and miss where it's landed on the, you can see there, some bits have got it, some bits haven't. That's what I wanted. I wanted the texture of it. So some parts dried quicker than others. So some bits have lots and lots of embossing powder on it, and it's really glossy, and other parts are matte. That's what I was going for. These are techniques that you can use. It doesn't matter what color palette you're using. You could do something like this to add shimmer, shine, and all that shimmery goodness onto your layout. I love the reflection and the colors of, you know, how bright and vibrant they are when you add clear embossing powder to them. I cut a few of these strips. Obviously I only needed 4, but I wanted to get a good mix of the brown and the blue. And I'm just running down with my art glitter glue, just a thin strip down the edge just to give myself a border. I wanted it to look like a separate border, like I had put a piece of paper behind it. And it's the easiest way to create a border, guys, and use up your scraps. It's super simple. Now I will be doing another, I did do a technique and it worked beautifully on the live, and I have actually told one of my subscribers that I will do a process video with this particular technique, and it's not reinventing the wheel, but it gets you using up your stickers. So, and it turned out so good. I absolutely loved it. Now, the reason I'm going around this with my black Posca paint pen is because I need, whenever I introduce a color, one of my neutral colors, I've got to have it on there a couple of times, at least 3 times. So I've got the black around the Gymnasts, but I didn't have black anywhere else. So I did a line around the inside of the border, and then I just went around the photos and just some of the stars, not all of them, just a few of them. And it just adds that extra little bit of black and it ties it together. Now, I'll be honest with you, if I had a brown Posca paint pen that matched, I would have used brown instead of black, but I think it looks good the way it is. So there you go, guys. This is the layout. I know this one was super quick, but yeah, it's all good. Thanks for watching, guys. I will chat to you soon.